All right, so here's the plan. Right now, I'm here. And I want to get to here. It's a pretty big jump. But if we break it down into smaller steps, it gets a little bit easier. And that's what we're going to talk about today. There's just a little bit of water out there. So, wow, what a week. Playing around with a new filter on the lens. So, might be a little bit too dark, but we'll see. Yeah, what a week. That was a really solid week to get done. I got one more session, the long run, but that one's fun. You cruise up and down the coast with a bunch of friends, so that's never a drag. But yeah, this week was pretty good. A couple of really solid sessions. Tuesday did 5 times 800, 200s, 30 seconds between the 8 and the 2, and then 2 minutes. Sorry, brain's mush. 2 minutes between the sets. That was solid. Legs didn't really get going, but I hit all the times except a couple of the 2s, which is my weakness. It's my kryptonite. So it's a spot that working really, really hard on fixing, which is why I ran 2s. But it was good. Sort of averaged 240s for the 800s. 243, I think, was my average across the session. And then about 36, 37 for the 200s, which is sort of between 3 minutes and 3:05. The 800s were around 3:25, which is really good for only being back for 2 weeks. I'm really happy, so I think it won't be long and be averaging sub 3:20, hopefully under 3 minutes for the 2s. And then Friday. Friday was a good day too. Actually, Friday was really good. Had a threshold 3 by 9 minutes. Had a threshold 3 by 9 minutes. Threshold's a good session. It's always fun. I like thresholds. And I do, broken thresholds at the moment. The summer humidity and heat in Queensland is pretty intense, and my coach Ryan says that if you break them down, you can run them quicker for the same heart rate. Then as the weather cools off, stretch those thresholds out again, make them longer. But it was 3 by 9 with 90 seconds this week. So 27-ish minutes total. I was averaging about 343 to 346 for all the Ks, and it was pretty much just bang on between those two. The first 2 sets felt great. The first rep, I was talking to Dad and having a great time. And then by the 3rd rep, it started to pinch a little, but that's fine. That's what it does. That's threshold, but definitely could have kept going. I did notice, and this is something I'll probably talk about in the future weeks, is just little things with my form that I'm working on tweaking now after seeing some of the footage from that session, just overstriding a little bit and sort of sinking into each step. But that comes back to also this week, started gym again, and that'll be cool to get in the gym with the videos, and talk to Scott, my gym coach, and get some stuff done there. But had 2 really solid gym sessions done, and also getting into all of my physio work to start making my tendons more reactive and less spongy, to get some more snap out of my step. I started all that, and that's going well, and touch wood, knock on wood on the table, do not like to talk about it. Every time I've talked about it, it's gone wrong. So only thing I'll say is I haven't felt my calf all week. So I'm going to leave it at that and move on and keep doing the work to fix it and permanently fix it this time. I think we're on the right track. So yeah, it was a good week. I can't wait for next week. From next week, it's going to be more dialed into the next race that's coming up, which will make the videos a little bit easier for me to make, because there's a target, and I know how to structure it and can break down the little things. So next week's probably going to be all about hills. Eating hills for breakfast. I've been allergic to hills for the last couple of years, and I'm paying for it now. So what better way than to get back into hills than to give yourself about a month's notice for a trail race with 400 plus meters of elevation, which is a bit wussy for trail running, but you got to start somewhere, right? So anyway, throw back to wherever I put this in. I might be after everything, it might be before, but yeah, so it'd be by tomorrow I should be at about 103, 104k for the week, which has ramped very nicely. Went 60, 80, up to 100, and let's see, consistency. That's the big thing this year. That's this year's big word, it's consistency. So let's see how many weeks I can hold at that for. But yeah, all right, throw this back to wherever it ends up going in. All right, now we get to start talking about all the fun stuff, all the races for the next year. That's gonna be the main way that it's gonna get broken down to decide when I finally enter my marathon, which will probably be looking to enter one sometime in the middle of the year. Probably looking at a sort of maybe early 2026, maybe late 2026 marathon. But that's enough of that for now. Let's go over all of the races that I'm gonna do this year, and then how this video stuff is all gonna get broken up into that. All right, so the plan is to race 6 times at least across 10K and half marathon, and that will get me through to Melbourne Marathon. So first race is gonna be Tarawara Ultra. I'm gonna do the 23K, that's in February. Next race will be GC Run Festival 10K. After that, possibly head up and do the Noosa 10K at the Noosa Marathon. Then it'll be Gold Coast Marathon, where I'll do the half. That'll be my first half of the year, which will be really exciting after doing a couple of 10Ks to go back into a half. After that, head down to Sydney, run Sydney Marathon 10K, which will just be like a giant party this year. Now that it's a major, a lot of people from the group are doing it. A lot of people I know are doing it, so that one will be a lot of fun. And then it's back to Melbourne. Melbourne's probably my favourite race in Australia on the calendar. It's also as far as ahead as I've thought, and that'll be another half. The half marathon down there will be the second time I've done it, which will be really good. So, all right, now that we've navigated the road, first race of the year and first goal of the year is going to be the UTMB Tarawara, or UTMB group put it on. So that's over in Rotorua in New Zealand, which looks stunning, and the course looks absolutely amazing. 400-ish meters elevation. That's also how I'm going to break down the video series leading up to ultimately the first marathon that I run. It's going to be broken down into all these races. So from next week, focus is going to be on that. It'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be a weird build up for a trail run, because I probably won't touch trails till I get there. But it's a very manicured, tame trail, so it shouldn't really matter. It's just about getting some hills in, which I'm doing. You'll see that next week. And then I'll be switching gears back onto the 10K. I really want to run a PB over 10K this season. I think the race for me to do it will be down in Sydney. Now that I've done it twice and I know the course, even though there's some pretty decent hills on it, I really think that I can use those downhills, and really if I get stronger over the hills over the next couple of months, which is part of one of the other little chunks that I mentioned last week, it'll work. Then obviously, biggest focus, 2 A races of the year, gonna be Gold Coast Half Marathon and Melbourne Half Marathon. Even the bats think that's a good idea. So that's kind of that. There might be another race which would be very exciting if it comes off, but it might not too, so that one's sort of That might be a bonus, but it won't be any broken hearts if it doesn't happen. So that's it. That's the biggest indicator of what race I pick to do the marathon and when, is not necessarily times over the half and 10. Yeah, I've got plenty of time and I know how my body works. Once I start running higher Ks, which will inevitably happen over the next 12 months, and then leading into the marathon, I'll just keep getting faster and faster. So that's the biggest one. And in terms of the videos, that's the most relevant one, because that's going to be the one that the goals are broken down into, the years broken up by. So from next week, it's all in on New Zealand. It'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait. So that'll be great. And that's kind of that for this week. Other than that, focusing on getting stronger, staying more consistent. I went over all of that last week, so don't need to go over it again, but yeah, hope you stick around. It's only going to get more exciting. There's a couple of other really cool things that are happening too, that I just need to lock them in a little bit more before I start to make videos about them. If you've got any suggestions on anything you want to see, put it down in the comments. It does help. I'm still learning this. I know how I want it to go. I know what direction I want it to take. And working really hard on that. So be a little bit patient. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Make sure you subscribe.